The entire castle shook beneath their feet. The air hummed with otherworldly energies. Sir Alistair's finger hovered over a glowing button on the cannon's controls. "Everyone, brace yourselves!" He pressed the button. A sphere made of lightning formed at the tip of the cannon's barrel. It grew in size until it nearly touched the castle's rooftop. The sphere shot forward as a shockwave exploded outward across the rooftop, knocking everyone off their feet. In the distance, an explosion like thunder shook the skies of Devine. Sir Alistair grabbed the edges of the control panel and climbed to his feet. He looked out into the horizon past the city's walls. The blast had ripped through one of the Mechanarch's shoulders, leaving a jagged and scorched wound on the machine. "Direct it!" Sir Alistair shouted.
"I want the cannon ready to fire again as soon as possible,"
Queen Nira commanded. "Yes, my queen," Sir Alistair said, his hands navigating the control panel. "Blackheart's not going to take this lying down," Jameson said. "Jameson's right. We need to strike while he's weakened," Yeldarb said. Queen Nira nodded.
"Agreed, but it would be foolish to attack the Mechanarch head-on."
An electric hum filled the air, but it was distant. Everyone's eyes turned to the horizon again. The arm of the Mechanarch was raised. A sphere of energy was forming within its open palm. "It's going to fire!" Sir Alistair shouted.
"Everyone inside, now!"
Queen Nira shouted. The group all rushed to flee the castle's rooftop. Only 2 made it inside. Yeldarb made it 4 steps before he heard the blast of the Mechanarch's cannon. He looked down to his left and saw Sarai beside him. To her left, the roof's ledge looked over the city streets below. He wrapped his arms around her waist and dove off the side of the roof just as the blast hit the castle. Heat and electricity licked at his heels as he and Sarai descended toward the ground below.
"What are you doing?"
Sarai screamed. "Just trust me!" Yeldarb shouted. He reached down and grabbed the wand from his waist. "Levictus!" he shouted. The runes all across his body glowed bright as an invisible force swept beneath Yeldarb and Sarai, dramatically slowing their fall. As they landed in the streets, the people of Giant's Bane rushed past them like a chaotic river. Yeldarb stood up, wand still in hand, and looked over to Sarai. "Are you hurt?" he asked. She shook her head.
"No, thanks for the quick thinking."
Yeldarb nodded just as a roar cut through the panicked screams surrounding them. His eyes went wide. "Isara," he whispered. He had not seen her since the demon took control. Clearly it had been biding its time. "Sarai, we need to head to the city gates. She can't fight Blackheart alone." Sarai pulled the bow off her back and notched an arrow.
"Lead the way."
The 2 made their way through the streets to the city gate as chaos continued to grip the city. Yeldarb heard the whir of mechanical arms and the roar of the rage demon growing in volume as they approached. The knights at the city gates stood frozen, watching the fight unfold just ahead of them, powerless to stop it. Yeldarb grabbed one by the shoulders. He was just a kid, barely old enough to hold a sword. His eyes were wide, filled with fear. "Close the gates and retreat to the castle. We'll handle this," Yeldarb said. The knight nodded and soon the city gates slammed shut behind Yeldarb and Sarai. The ground shook as the rage demon's claws dug deep into the Mechanarch's jagged wound. Flames erupted from its mouth, pouring into the machine. The Mechanarch curled its hand into a fist and drove it up into the rage demon's jaw. It stumbled backward. Yeldarb turned to Sarai. "Cover me! I'm going to try and get Isara out!" Sarai ran to the side of the fighting and readied her bow. Yeldarb pushed his hand down, pointing the wand toward the ground. A gust of magical wind swept him into the air. The Mechanarch wrapped its hands around the rage demon's throat and lifted it up off the ground. The demon snarled and clawed at the metal arms, but its attacks merely scuffed the armor. Yeldarb reached their height and pointed his wand at the Mechanarch. "Sinstara Vaklenvel!" The skies above the Mechanarch turned dark as thunder rumbled. It turned its head upward as a bolt of lightning struck it between its mechanical eyes. It stumbled backward, shaking the ground as it dropped its prey. The rage demon fell onto its back. Yeldarb landed on the demon's chest, spotting Isara nestled amidst brimstone around its heart. He looked to the Mechanarch and saw its hand approaching, palm open, ready to swat him like a fly. He instinctively shielded his face and braced for the impact, but it never came. Instead, the screech of metal filled his ears. He spotted an arrow wedged in the joint that connected its hand to its arm. A perfect shot. He looked down to Sarai, who readied another arrow. This was his chance. He pointed his wand down at the prison of fire and stone that held Isara. "Blizzara! Insola Shakar!" Ice shards formed in the air and collided with the jagged rocks jutting from the demon's chest. Steam filled the air as Yeldarb reached inside. The demon's body was hotter than lava. His skin burned as he reached deeper. He ignored the pain and kept pushing. When he felt Isara's arm, he pulled. The young girl emerged, coughing and sputtering as the demon's blood dripped from her skin. Its body went cold all around them, turning to stone. Yeldarb held Isara and turned back around to face the Mechanarch. It was down on one knee, silent. "What is it doing?" he asked. In the distance, Sarai waved her arms frantically. She was shouting, but Yeldarb couldn't hear what she was saying. A series of muted blasts filled the air as several canisters shot out from inside the Mechanarch's back. Yeldarb watched them soar over the city of Giant's Bane, but soon, another sound filled his ears. The Mechanarch started to hum, and then it began to roar. Sarai was already running. The pieces came together. It was going to explode. Yeldarb stood and began running back toward the gate with Isara in his arms. "Open the gates!" he screamed, just as an explosion tore through the space behind him. As the Mechanarch's cannon reached its full charge, Jameson Netherwave did the math in his head. It was roughly 12 paces to the door that led into the castle. He wasn't going to make it. Neither would Alara. He glanced over the edge of the castle's roof. He had survived worse. It would have to do. As the Mechanarch fired, Jameson grabbed Alara by the shoulders and wrapped his arms around her. He dove off the edge of the castle as the blast ripped through the stone like it was parchment. He angled his scaly body towards the ground below and let gravity handle the rest. The two crashed through the rooftop of a tavern, landing amongst tables and chairs. Pain radiated through Jameson's back, but his armored body protected Alara, just as he planned. Alara stood up first, her violet eyes surveying the inside of the tavern. The people within all looked on in silent horror. They had never seen a Majiri before. Jameson climbed to his feet, brushing dirt and splinters off his scales. "Ha ha! When this is all over, drinks are on me!" he joked. No one laughed. He took Alara's hand and led her outside. Screams filled the city streets. Jameson looked back to the castle nearby. "Let's regroup with the others at the castle," he said. Alara gripped his hand tight and nodded. They began pushing their way through the panicked crowd, but paused as an explosion rattled the air around them. Jameson and Alara looked up as several large canisters soared through the skies above them. They exploded open, releasing a pair of black, spiked spheres. The spheres descended like leaves, slowly, quietly. "What are those?" Jameson asked. The surface of the spheres rippled and stretched like something was trying to escape. Alara's violet eyes went wide.
"Rot seeds!"
she screamed. Jameson's jaw dropped as the spheres tore open in the air above them. Spiders, centipedes, flies, and all manner of other insects, black as night, descended toward them. Alara raised her hands as her eyes burned with a lavender light. A dome of the same color formed above her and Jameson, wrapping around them and descending to the ground. Jameson watched as the insects collided with the dome and scattered below. All around them, the defenseless citizens of Giant's Bane clawed at their own skin, desperately trying to stop the insects. It was futile. Spiders slid between screaming lips, flies burrowed into open ears, and centipedes chewed their way through open wounds. Jameson and Alara looked on in horror as the rot infected countless people surrounding them. Their skin turned gray, their eyes turned black like the night sky, and their smiles dripped with ichor. Alara looked down toward the pocket of her robe. The Kintari stone was glowing brightly from within. Jameson stepped forward and pulled it out. The sounds of the infected faded as a familiar voice came through. "Jameson, can you hear me? It's Melisari." "Melisari? Nice of you to finally wake up. We could use your help," he replied. "I'm with the fairies. We're en route to Giant's Bane. Is everyone else all right?" Jameson looked over to Alara. Her arms shook above her head as she struggled to hold the barrier in place. "I don't know. You'd better get here quick. I gotta go. See you soon." Jameson slid the stone back into the pocket of Alara's robe. "Can you move this spell of yours?" he asked. Alara nodded, her jaw clenched. "Good. We need to get back to the castle. Now!" As the Mechanarch's cannon charged, Sir Alistair thought only of Nira. He looked over and she picked up the Kintari stone from the ground. Together they fled toward the door leading back into the castle. They made it through just as an explosion tore through the castle behind them. The door exploded off its hinges, knocking both of them down the spiraling staircase inside. The sound of falling stone echoed all around them as the floors above began to crumble. Sir Alistair tapped the panel on his left arm. Blue light exploded across his body, holding him in place and halting his descent. He oriented himself and pressed the panel again. Behind him, a cloud of dust surrounded rubble that blocked the way back. "Nira, can you hear me?" he shouted.
I'm down here!
A voice called. Sir Alistair made his way further down the winding stairs. Queen Nira stood against the wall, her face and arms marred by fresh wounds. "The cannon has been destroyed," Sir Alistair said. "Are you wounded?" He tried to reach out, but Nira backed away, brushing herself off.
I'm fine. We need to regroup with the others.
"Assuming any of them survived that blast," Sir Alistair said.
Don't let despair take you now, Blackened Knight. We haven't lost this battle yet.
Nira resumed her descent down the stairs and Sir Alistair followed. They both paused briefly as a distant explosion once more shook the walls around them.
We must hurry!
Nira shouted. They reached the ground floor and walked into the throne room. Knights filled the space. They leapt into action as their queen emerged. "Queen Nira! You are safe! We feared the worst!" the knight captain said.
It's going to take more than that to kill me. What was that explosion just now?
"The Mechanach, my queen!" Nira and Sir Alistair both exchanged a confused look. "The Mechanach is destroyed?" Sir Alistair asked. The knight nodded. "Yes, but before it was destroyed it deployed something in the skies above the city. We believe them to be rot seeds." "How many are infected?" Sir Alistair asked. The knight shook his head. "Too many to count. We've barricaded the castle doors, but it will not hold for much longer. What are your orders?" Nira looked back to Sir Alistair. Their eyes met and memories filled the space between them.
Sir Alistair, I need you to do something,
she said. Sir Alistair nodded. "Anything, my queen." Nira pulled a necklace out from beneath her armor. A pendant glimmered in the light. In its center was a brilliant blue sapphire.
Take this and find the others,
she said, handing him the necklace. "What is this?" Sir Alistair asked.
It's a key, one that has been in my family for generations.
Sir Alistair was starting to put the pieces together. The queen approached him and laid a hand on his shoulder.
Seek the tomb where marigolds grow, she
said. Sir Alistair shut his eyes. Tears welled behind his eyelids as old wounds were wrenched open. "And what will I find there?" he asked. He felt Nira's breath hot upon his ear.
The Eluthian Titan's best-kept secret, and our only hope, she whispered.
She stepped back, her voice rising in volume to address the knights surrounding her.
Knights of Giantsbane, here we shall make our final stand. The rot is at our gates, threatening to devour and consume everything we hold dear.
She spun around, her eyes meeting those of her fellow warriors.
I do not know if we will live to see another dawn, but I do know this. While we yet breathe, the battle is not lost.
The queen plucked the bladed staff from her back and raised it into the air.
For Giantsbane! She
shouted. The knights all raised their weapons and let loose a battle cry. For Giantsbane! For a moment, even Sir Alistair believed the battle could still be won. Though it was dark, the interior of the Mechanarch offered far more light than Fintan had seen in days. Of course, for him, it had felt like lifetimes. "What's going on?" he asked, trying to move his body. He was paralyzed from the neck down, but could look around. In front of him were the Mechanarch's launch tubes. They typically contained canisters used to seed the surface of worlds like Devine. Of course, Fintan did not see the seeds of life floating in the canisters before him. Instead, he saw rot seeds, enough to infect the entire realm. "Welcome back, dear brother," Blackheart said, stepping into view. "I wanted you awake for this part." "You're not my brother," Fintan spat. "You're just some no-name mercenary wearing his skin." Blackheart smiled. "Oh, you wound me. It's true, though. The soul of Scar was devoured by the rot over the course of countless krona. I'm sure you've discovered that a similar fate awaits you. It's just a matter of time. Not even us Titans are invincible, after all." Fintan's eyes narrowed. "I'm counting on it." Blackheart laughed as he approached the console in front of the launch tubes. He looked up at the canisters, all filled with writhing black spheres. "Beautiful, aren't they? Rot seeds are a new invention of mine. A way to fracture my psyche into beautiful pieces. Each one begets a new version of me, ready to devour and conquer." He spun back around. "This will be the end of Devine." An impact hit the Mechanarch, sending sparks flying. Alarms blared as a crimson light bathed the interior. force knocked Finton over. He felt the rot's grip lessen and quickly stood to his feet. Blackheart had fallen as well.
Ha! That damn rage demon is going to pay for interrupting me! The Mechanox autopilot will make quick work of it, though. Once the seeds have been launched, this battle will be at an end.
As he stood back up, Finton spotted a familiar figure approaching Blackheart from behind. A being made of pure light. Featureless, but Finton recognized him. "Scar, is that you?" he asked. The being wrapped its arms around Blackheart and held him in place.
"What is this? Let go of me, now!"
he shouted. Finton ran to the console and tried to disable the rot seeds from firing, but it was too late. He watched several fire out from within the launch tubes. If any more deployed, the realm would surely be lost. He looked back down at the control panel. "There's only one thing left to do," he whispered. His hands moved with purpose. A new panel slid open on the left side. He laid his hand on it as a scanner swept beneath his palm. "ID accepted," a robotic voice called out. "Self-destruct protocol engaged." Finton turned to look at Blackheart, still wrestling with the remnants of his fallen brother.
"What are you doing? You'll get us both killed!"
Blackheart screamed. "The Mechanoch is powered by an antimatter core, did you know that?" Finton asked. "It will be a quick death, better than either of us deserve. When the core ruptures, it will bring about an explosion, not of fire, but of correction. It will erase us both. 2 cosmic mistakes, finally unwritten. Core overload in 10, 9, 8. I hate endings," Finton said, "but this one feels right." He felt the rot tear through him like a frightened child. It leapt out through his skin, reaching for the control panel in a desperate attempt to save itself. Finton closed his eyes and smiled as the countdown reached 0. "Khosra, my sister, I'm finally coming home."